And we're going to focus on the Middle East now. The US President Biden has blamed Iranian-backed groups for an attack that killed 3 US service people in Jordan.
34 troops were also injured in the drone attack on the American base near the Syrian border. It's the first time US servicemen have been killed by strikes in the region since Hamas's October the 7th attack. It sparked fears of a conflict escalation in the region, with the former president and leading Republican candidate Donald Trump warning that we are on the brink of World War III.
Well, in a post on Twitter, the UK Foreign Secretary Lord Cameron said he strongly condemns the attacks by militia groups against US forces and urges Iran to de-escalate in the region.
Let's go to former NATO Commander Rear Admiral Chris Parry. Chris, just really interested in your take on things today as to where we're at and where we're heading to with this.
Well, good morning, everybody. Yes, this is a significant escalation because Jordan up until now has been, if you like, a safe area for Western troops. There are about 3,000 US troops based in Jordan. The post that was attacked is in the extreme northeast of the country on the junction with Syria and Iraq. It monitors very much the trade that goes on between Iran and Syria and Hezbollah. Quite a lot of the munitions that go to Syria and Hezbollah pass nearby, so the Americans are able to monitor it. And I suspect that's got something to do with why the base was hit. It's also the base for American special forces operations into Iraq and Syria when they need to take some action. It's a significant escalation by Iran. Any suggestion it's nothing to do with them is ridiculous. All these groups are coordinated by Iran. And in many ways, it reflects the instabilities and insecurities within Iran. They've got a few problems internally. So they've got a demographic pressure from their young people. You've got a succession crisis because Ayatollah Khomeini is getting older and more infirm. And I suspect their nuclear program is not running to time. So they're projecting outwards at the moment. They're using their proxy groups, Hezbollah, Hamas, and this group, which is Harakat Hezbollah al-Nuqaba, which is a branch of Islamic resistance, to actually project power against America. And the ultimate aim is to destabilize and destroy Israel.
But Chris, how far dare the USA go with this? I mean, would this involve an out-and-out direct strike against Iran?
Not at this stage. I think there will be a significant escalation. What I think the Americans have to do is, I'm afraid, take disproportionate action against these sorts of things. At the moment, they're taking it on the chin. And I'm afraid to say my own experience in that region is if you continue to allow them to do this, they'll establish a new normal where there's continual violence against US and Western interests in that region. So they have to hit back very hard against the perpetrators of this and also hold Iranian assets and personnel at risk. I was reading just now that the Iranians have actually withdrawn some of their Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps personnel from Syria and Iraq in anticipation of a retaliatory strike. But we have to hold Iran at risk here and make them pay the penalty. Otherwise, they're simply going to multiply these attacks through their proxies across the region.
I don't know about you, but I've lost count of the number of people this year alone who've said to me, are we heading into a really serious, possibly global war again? It certainly feels as though there is a level of anxiety in society now. Not only have we had General Sir Patrick Sanders talking about bringing back conscription, but we're hearing, as you say, about the situation with Iran and its weapons-grade uranium. What does all of this mean for us, in your view?
I've been saying for about 5 years that we are confronting an axis of autocracy that consists of Russia, China, Iran and North Korea. And they're acting in concert against the free world at the moment. We're seeing Russia push on Ukraine and by implication onto Western Europe. We're seeing China all over the South and East China Sea. Iran, of course, is destabilizing the Middle East in its own interests. And I think you'll see North Korea really getting aggressive against South Korea anytime soon, to tell you the truth. If you join up the dots, there's quite a lot of potential for a world war there if the free world doesn't actually stand and resist this. We're in a situation where almost anything could trigger joining up those dots. I mean, I spoke with Patrick a year ago about the need to actually boost our forces. The reason is that our opponents can see the bottom of our locker, both in terms of our capabilities, but also our personnel as well. If I know all I have to do is fight no more than 180,000 troops in the United Kingdom, I look at the war in Ukraine and say, yeah, I can easily deal with that. Unless we've got a link to the rest of our society, and our society is mobilized against this sort of aggression, we're not going to prevail.
So there is some truth in what Donald Trump is saying in terms of us being on the brink or possible brink of a World War III? Yeah.
But I'm afraid the escalation is being undertaken by these totalitarian regimes, Iran, Russia, China, and North Korea. What is making it worse is that we are more concentrated on things going on internally